so. Oh, sweet.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity on the North Shore Sunday service. If you're joining us on Zoom or watching us later on social media, we are very glad that you're here. My name is Suzanne Lamb. I'm your worship assistant today. And we have Martin Taylor, our prayer chaplain. And we are very fortunate to have our guest speaker with us today from Dallas, and it's Nancy Hart. She will give us the lessons and lead the meditation. And musicians, we have Felina, good to see you again, and Jesse Jeffries. So let's take a deep breath. If you can, close your eyes. Holy Presence, we know that in God we can never be separate from love, from truth, from infinite intelligence, and the source of all good. We gather here this morning in this sacred time to open our hearts and our minds to the one power and the one presence. We gratefully receive the energies of divine light and love pouring in and through us. And we affirm we're here this morning for a divine purpose. We trust that our purpose is now being fulfilled, for we know we are now in the presence of pure being, immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. And so it is. Amen. So now we're going to have the opening song with Felina Bunn and Jesse Jeffries.
I'll light the fire. You place the flowers in the vase that you bought today. Staring at the fire for hours and hours while I listen to you play your love songs all night long for me, only for me. Come to me now and rest your head just for 5 minutes. Everything is good. Such a cozy room. The windows are illuminated by the evening sunshine. Through them fiery gems for you, only for you. Our house is a very, very, very fine house with 2 cats in the yard. Life used to be so hard. Now everything is easy 'cause of you and I. is a very, very, very fine house with 2 cats in the yard. Life used to be so hard. Now everything is easy 'cause of you and I'll light the fire. You place the flowers in the vase that you bought today.
Thank you, Felina. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you so much for such a welcoming song to all of us here this morning. We'd like to welcome you again to our Unity on the North Shore. And Unity is a positive, practical approach for spiritual living based on the teachings of Jesus and the power of prayer. We also believe in the truth and beauty in every spiritual tradition and honor the many paths to the one God. Wherever you are on your journey of faith, you're always welcome here. We welcome you. For those of you that are in the sanctuary with us, thank you for being here. It's such a lovely fall going on to winter morning, but we're very glad that you're here. And for those of you that are joining us on Zoom and in the social media later, we welcome you. And the purpose for us here at Unity on the North Shore is to create a safe space where people are empowered to take risks and live their deepest truth. And if this is your first Sunday with us in the sanctuary, we extend a very loving welcome to all of you. And many of us, including myself, in 1997, when I first came, and I was very surprised to learn that there was a spiritual community that thought and believed the same things that I did, that we did. It felt like coming home. And I've been here since. We hope your experience this morning is powerful and that you will return to be with us again and again. So now Felina and Jesse is going to lead us to our group song this morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you guys? Great. All right, my understanding is that there are no words on this screen, so we're going to do this together. Okay, ooh, yeah, woo, woo-hoo, all right? So I'm going to sing it one time through so you can kind of get the melody. The only words that change are the first couple of words, and I will say them before the change, okay? And let's see what happens. Okay. It's pour yourself in me. Pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, shine your light in me. Shine your light into my heart. Oh, wonderful. Sing your song in me. Sing your song into my heart. Oh, wonderful. Pour yourself in me. Pour yourself into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Good job.
Thank you, Felina and Jesse. Thank you for guiding us into the unknown. So let us start by reading today's daily word. The daily word for today is balance, and the affirmation is, I honor life's shifting rhythms. Sometimes trying to balance my schedule, meet my obligations, and even find time for the things I enjoy can leave me scrambling to figure out how to fit it all in. Today, I take my cue from nature and notice the rhythm of the seasons and the tides, the cycles of growth, and the order that underlies all things. I appreciate how seamlessly the natural world balances itself and restores itself to harmony. This gift of harmony and balance lives in me. I honor myself when I flow with it, instead of forcing my will upon it. I listen to my body's many signals. I rest when I'm tired, eat when I'm hungry, and socialize and seek solitude as I need to. As I care for myself, I find balance. And the scripture, in a nod to the upcoming holiday season, for there is nothing better for people under the sun than to eat and drink and enjoy themselves. Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 15. And now, as we continue to focus on prayer, please let's center ourselves by taking in a deep breath, remembering that taking in a deep breath and centering ourselves reminds us that every place we are is a sacred space. And as we release the breath, we allow those things going around us to temporarily go back into the background, allowing us into our heart space. Thank you, God. Thank you for greeting us here. Thank you for meeting us here. Thank you for always being here. And now let us spend a moment or two in silence, in prayer for ourselves and for our loved ones. Blessed Holy Spirit, we remind ourselves that those who are facing challenges and those who are suffering are always in your care, that your comforting strength and love, your guidance will bring them through the facing of the challenge, bring them through the suffering, and that in the end everything will be in order as it should be and in balance. And we thank you and affirm that we all, whether here, there, or anywhere, are never alone. And so it is, and so will it be. Amen. If you would like to make a private prayer, there are prayer requests at the back of the seats, and you can place them in the prayer box afterwards if you're here in the sanctuary. And if you're online, a link for requesting a prayer is now being posted. After the service, I will be available at the back of the candle for anybody who wishes to have a prayer in person. And now we return to our wonderful musicians, Felina and Jesse.
Hear a knock on the door and it all begins. 'Cause we done this before, so come on in. Make yourself right at home, tell me where you've been. Pour you something cold and cheers to this. Sometime you gotta stay in, and you know where I live. Time we gonna get this. gonna start over. I'm having some technical issues here, and I don't like it. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, yes. Hear a knock on the door and it all begins. 'Cause we done this before, so come on in. Make yourself at home, tell me where you've been. Pour you something cold and cheers to this. Sometimes you gotta stay in, and you know where I live. Yeah, you know what this is. Sometimes you gotta stay in. Welcome to my house. Come on, take control now. Here you can slow down. We don't have to go out. Welcome to my house. Play that music too loud. Here you'll find some peace now. We don't have to go out. Yeah. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. Hear a knock on the door and it all begins. 'Cause we've been here before, come right on in. Make yourself right at home, tell me where you've been. Pour you something cold and cheers to this. Sometimes you gotta stay in, and you know where I live. Yeah, you know what this is. Sometimes you gotta stay in. Welcome to my house. Come on, take control now. Here we can slow down. We don't have to go out. Welcome to my house. Play that music so loud. Here you find some peace now. You don't have to go out. Hey, da, 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 da. Welcome to my house. Yes. Welcome to my house.
Thank you, Felina. Thank you so much. I would just like to take this time to welcome our guest speaker, Nancy Hart, she usually zooms in from Dallas on Sunday morning, but we're very lucky to have her in person with us today. And she has set an intention to return to our sanctuary before the property was released. So she was very thrilled when Reverend Kurt called her and asked her to speak today. So like many of us, when she found Unity, she felt like coming home. And Unity principles have infused her daily way of being ever since, I was told. From a high-power event producer traveling the world, she was guided to express her talents in a new way. She is now a certified life mastery consultant and mindset coach, working with women business leaders and entrepreneurs. She teaches and speaks internationally and is a contributing author to Volume 2 of the Amazon bestseller, Short, Sweet, and Sacred. Please help us welcome Nancy Hart to our house.
Good morning, everybody. And I gotta say, I'm a little, as I think Mel Brooks liked to say, I'm a little verklempt. There is something about being together in this place, in this energy, and in this space. And I want to start us out today with some thank yous, offering gratitude. First and foremost, as Suzanne just said beautifully, for the welcome, the warm welcome I've received into this house. And those who might be attending here live for the first time, we'd like to welcome you as well. I would love to say thank you to Felina and Jesse for riding alongside me, not necessarily traditional church songs, you might say, and bringing them to us beautifully. And I want to thank them both for that. Thank you so much. To our prayer chaplains, the power of what Martin represents today is at the heart of, I think, of what we believe in unity, the power of prayer, and the action steps that we take with that, and the connection that we make to that which breathes us on a daily basis. I was fortunate to have met a woman and actually prayed with a woman who was very integral to this community. Her name was Nancy Good. She is actually being honored today along with another incredibly important member of this congregation, Hecky Powell, up at Unity Village today, where their ashes are being honored and spread. And that's where Rev Kurt is today, as I think most of you know. I was trained as a prayer chaplain at my home church in Dallas. Rev Kurt was my trainer. He taught me. And my mother lived here. Before she transitioned, my mother lived down in the Loop. And I would come up here. I loved my mother people, but you know, there's sometimes some mother-daughter rigor that goes on. And man, you need to go plant your feet back in the ground and get grounded again. And I was fortunate to know of Unity on the North Shore. I came up here, and the first time I walked in, what am I looking for? I'm looking for a prayer chaplain. Thanks very much. Let's get me grounded here. And who was the first person I met? It was Nancy Good. Now, I didn't know her like you knew her, and I did not have the honor of knowing Hecky. But I really want to honor what Martin represents today and that power that is within us each day. So, prayer chaplains, whether you're here, you're on Zoom, or you're with us in spirit, you rock. Thank you for everything that you do. And the last thing, there's so many thank yous, but the last thing I want to recognize, and it's because most of the time, as Suzanne shared with you, I joined via Zoom. And I want you to know that there is a team here that gives their service, that gives their time to this community by helping us reach beyond the four walls, to allow people like me, to people here in the greater Chicago area who I know join weekly. And those of us, hi Dallas contingent, hello, hello, hello. I know you're here and from around the country. And how powerful that part of this ministry is. And I would love it if you would give them a round of applause. And those who are on Zoom, I want you to go to your buttons, guys, go to your buttons and go to that little reaction button. And I want you to give this team a little heart, a little hand wave, something. Let's show our appreciation for them helping us spread this message that Unity on the North Shore represents out into the world. Thank you so much, live stream team. Thank you. So today it's my honor and my pleasure to be here with you. We are kicking off a month that Rev Kurt has, I think it's a working title, work with him on this, that's called Autumnal Wisdom. And he shared kind of the framing with us. It was in the newsletter this week. The framing is this: exploring and cultivating a grateful orientation to life as we navigate and live it on a daily basis in this particular season. And when I was thinking about what it is that I could bring to you today, I was thinking about what is it that we are either in the process of or about to launch. And what represents it to me, it's gathering. And what is kind of, besides going to the kitchen, which you know is where everybody goes, right? Where do we go? And we go to a table. We gather at the table, that's our symbol. And what you're seeing on screen right now or on Zoom right now is actually my table at my house. This table has been in our family for over 70 years. And let me just say, y'all know the phrase, if the walls could talk, the tales that they would tell, yeah? I think if you asked this table and she whispered back, it'd be really, really interesting what she would share with us. Excuse me a little bit. Getting over a little bit of the crud, guys, so pardon me for taking just a moment here. So this symbol of the table that we gather around, how did this table come to us? I'd like to share with you how this table came to my family. And it's these guys right here that you're going to see. Let's go to the next slide. This is Tacoma, Washington. It's 1944, edge of 1945. We are at the end of World War II. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a happy family. Yes, it's a happy family, I promise you. They're looking a little stoic, but it's a happy family. And why is that? Why is that? it's an opportunity that they had to be together. Now, this is my family. This is my dad's side. That's my grandpa Hart, my grandmother Letty, my dad with the twinkles in his eye is on the outside here, and my Aunt Anne. She has just taken her 90th trip around the sun, and we are celebrating her. And as I was preparing for this talk on the table that I have received downline from them, she told me some absolutely wonderful stories about this table. And understand that one of the things that was most important to them, most important to them, and why, even though their faces might not reflect it, this is a happy family. Why? It's the end of wartime. Housing is scarce. They'd been apart for over a year at this juncture. My grandfather worked for the railroad, and much like military families experience, they are repositioned managers are repositioned every couple of years. With the railroad, they had to go find their own housing, and when my grandfather couldn't find housing, it meant the kids got put in school wherever they were, and they would talk on the phone and they would write an awful lot of letters, but oftentimes they were separated for long periods of time. This represents a time when they were together. And they had faced some really interesting obstacles. In these moves that they had made, they are literally in Tacoma and they have nothing. All of their possessions had gone up in a fire, gone up in flames. So in wartime, my grandmother is having to restock everything from furniture to appliances to clothes, beds, everything. She is having to do that. And it's not like walking out to a big box store or hooking up on Amazon, right? There's nothing available. It's wartime. So they're going to estate sales. And what does she find at an estate sale? She didn't find beds that day. She found a table. And she fell in love with it. And I like to imagine, I never got to speak with her about this, but I like to imagine that not only did she see the beauty in this table and providing for her family, but it was an opportunity that really represented them being together. The possibilities that could come from that, where they could eat together, they could communicate together, they could share. So the table comes home to the house that they finally rented. It's in a picture window. Actually kind of much like the way it's displayed right now. There's a picture window, and we can lose the picture, folks. But remember those beautiful, and we can just take it to black on screen. That's good. The opportunity, what's so interesting, and there's going to be some clues in this for us as well, that she had placed it in a place of honor. It's in the picture window, beautiful table, ladder back chairs, the blue velvet cushions. And if you're looking in from the outside, you might think, wow, really prosperous family, okay. Well, my aunt tells the tale that not too long after the table came home, and they came home, that a neighbor, I'm going to call her nosy neighbor, okay, comes knocking on the door because she's been looking and watching them eat at this table. And she's making up all kinds of stories about this. You know, when we look at something and, it's just kind of human, it's part of our being human. We make up stories about things. We are storytellers by our nature. She comes up and she knocks on the door. And she's expecting to walk into I don't know what. My grandmother opens the door, she walks in, and the first words out of her mouth, her jaw drops, and the first words out of her mouth are, "You have no furniture." Wow, yeah, wow. Now what's so interesting when my aunt, Anne, who was up there, speaks into this, she doesn't talk about the reactions that when that door opened and this woman's mouth flaps open, right? And she offers that idea. There's no, she doesn't speak into the reactions. And we can imagine what those might have been, right? Maybe some shame, maybe some discomfort, or maybe, who knows? You know something? I'm really proud that we have this in wartime. And my family's together and I don't care. My aunt, with vim and vigor today, says emphatically, it doesn't matter. We were happy. The one time we truly were happy in our family because we were together. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the power of intention. That's the power of imagination, one of our 12 powers that we speak into, yes? So that table sat in that window for a very, very long time. So you might be thinking, Nancy, that's a really nice story, but why in the world does it matter to me? Right? What are the clues? I believe that this story has an opportunity for us, that there are clues in it for us as we're navigating this particular time and space that Martin wrote into with the Daily Word. In these opportunities, we're looking for some balance, right? I think the story has an opportunity and an invitation to us, yeah? An invitation to note the stories that we're telling and the meaning that we make of it. Stories and meaning, okay? I think it also offers us an opportunity to encourage questioning. We're in this time, right? And the activities that we are already participating in or we're about to participate in, does it still serve us? Do these opportunities, can we get curious about this? Do they still serve us, or is there something greater still? Is there something better still that we might invoke? And let me just say, it's a hotbed of opportunity to discover your gratitude at an even deeper level. Hotbed of opportunity. So that brings us to a moment where we kind of need to address the elephant in the room in this time of year. And what the heck is the elephant in the room? It's holiday expectations. I don't know about you, but anytime I turn on the TV, walk into a big box store, what have you, I am bombarded with images of and messaging of expectations of telling me how I should feel, how I should act. Notice the word should, people, yeah? Notice this, not helpful, but we'll get there. Perhaps there are expectations not just out there, but that we have within our communities, whether it's our families of origin, families that we have brought together, communities with whom we are going to gather in this season, yes? And the twist on this, and this is the thing we get to watch for and the thing that we get to explore with ourselves, we're being invited to an opportunity today to explore, is that sometimes along with those calls to action, there are expectations that come along with it, there's judgment that comes along with it, which can lead us to a place of lack. I'm not meeting expectations. Oh my gosh, I must not be a good person, I must not be prosperous, I must not be praying enough, I must. Let's nip that in the bud, shall we? Now, if you are one of these people, and I would love to be you when I grow up, okay, who absolutely loves every aspect of the holiday season, can't wait for Hallmark and all the cookie baking that's going to happen for hours on end with every show, who have Elf on the Shelf and make perfect gravy. If that's you, I celebrate you. That's awesome. But let me just say that for most of us, because we are, as we know, spiritual beings living in a human suit, right? And walking around and experiencing life, that we live in let's call it light and shadow, yes? We understand life because we understand death. We know light because we understand dark. And this is how we experience life as we are moving forward. And this can be part of our experience in this holiday. And again, Elf on the Shelf people, I love you. Maybe I will be you when I grow up. But we're called today, I think, to navigate in a different sort of a way. And I'd like to invite us into an exploration. And I'm going to give it to us kind of in 3 opportunities, all right? So if we're looking to engage with this season in perhaps a new way or perhaps a bit of a different way, where do we look for clues and where might we start? And I'm going to offer you 3 opportunities today of some launch points that I'd invite you to explore. The first one is take a moment now. What is something about this season that you really enjoy? Could be a sight, could be a sound, could be a smell, could be a memory. For me, one of the things that absolutely brings me chuckles is the battle I used to have with my cousin Marcy over the black olives in the dish. We loved black olives, and there we are with our toothpicks, right? And that to me is a really, really warm memory, a warm thought. Or making my mother's marshmallow fluff salad. I grew up in Wisconsin, folks. We had marshmallow fluff. People call it other things. But this is where you've got the mandarin oranges coming out of the can and the pineapple chunks coming out of the other can, and then you're cutting up the big marshmallows, and then you whip in the sour cream, right? And then if you're not eating it already, you put it in the fridge and let it marinate overnight. When someone invites me for the first time to be at their table and bring a family dish, here comes, all right, we all know that there just probably is no healthy thing in any of that. Where's the fresh pineapple, right? Where, am I cutting up the orange slices? Where is my cooking channel opportunity, right? No. The cans come out, the marshmallows come out, because that is meaningful to me. Am I going to eat it every day? Heck no. But it has meaning for me. So here, I would invite you, take a moment, and look at the opportunity for yourself. Is there something in the quality of this season that really that feels expansive to you? Notice that. And then I would invite you to get a little bit more curious. Notice the feelings you have with that. Notice. Marry the two together. Marry the two together. Just let that be. Memorize this feeling that you have in this moment about a moment that actually brings you joy. Or at least if it isn't called joy, peace, contentment, or perhaps you just feel more expanded as you're thinking about it. Yes? Now, for those of you, there may be some of you who are either here or who are listening where the holidays are just a non-starter, and that coming up with an image like that in experience is not in your realm. It's okay. It's okay. What I would invite you to, for the purposes of this exploration, is to, with your imagination, again, one of our 12 powers, would there be something you could create for yourself, a moment, an idea? The smell of cinnamon wakes you, enlivens you. That's always a key for me in the holidays, that smell of cinnamon. Embrace that. Memorize this feeling, this sense that you have about this image you've brought into fruition. Now, let that be your ground wire for the season. Ground wire, as we know, is in an electrical system. We have a ground wire in our homes, our apartments, wherever that we're living. It's what we tap into that keeps the system, as Martin said, in balance today, that keeps it in flow. And the beautiful thing we have here is that with a ground wire, when we're navigating, we use the idea is to use this in moments where we may be navigating through this season and we're feeling wobbly. Okay, Aunt Mildred just said that, what? Those moments. We can tap into and do what we call change our state by tapping into this sense that we have, plug into it like a ground wire. And then if we could, of course, we know here that ground wire ultimately connects to spirit, connects to the energy of God that is with us in every moment of the day, in the sticky spots, in the ugly spots, and in the beauty and the joy. So that's our ground wire. So first, let's give ourselves a ground wire that when we're feeling a little wobbly and feeling a little shaky, we have a place to plug into. We just go back to that memory, it's called changing our state, calming ourselves down so we can navigate with greater openness, greater awareness. So that's part one. That's part one. Second thing I'd like to invite you to is the invitation. And this one gets a little more, we got to breathe into this one. And this is looking at an opportunity that we may have with someone in our family, in our community. I like to think of it this way. Gathering together, perhaps there's an individual who tells a story, and it's the same story every year. And it's the way of faith. And something, it can become a way of bonding, right? This may be file 85.6 is what I like to call them. And we plug into this because it's one of the things that helps us bond with each other. And we know on this path that we are on, that we are ever evolving, we are grounding and we are elevating at the same time. Yes, we are grounding and we are elevating in and through and with spirit. Yeah? And perhaps it's a time now where that story no longer serves. serves us as individuals. Yes? No longer serves us. And we'd like to change it up. There's a little bit of risk in that. So if you are feeling called, if there is something that's like, you know you're going to walk into this scenario, this situation, and you can already feel yourself kind of bracing or gritting your teeth, what if you allowed yourself and called yourself to a different experience? What if when Aunt Mildred or Uncle Bob comes up with the story and we're starting to wind and span and all of that, and you wanted something different, what could you do? So before you're in that situation with Aunt Mildred, Uncle Bob, get some clarity around what it is that you would love. What is it exactly you would like that experience to be? Get real clarity around it. Perhaps find some words. What's the intention that you want to create with this individual? I know I did this with my mother. We had stories that we told, and at a certain point in time, I remember where I was standing, the Target bag I was holding, the rent car, and everything. And I realized in that moment that I no longer wanted to tell this particular story. And I'd been thinking and I'd been working on this, and I realized that the opening was there. And I had clarity around what it is that I wanted to create, the story that I wanted to tell, the repatterning of the story that not only honored me, but also honored the individual across by inviting them into a different conversation. And sure enough, and this is clarity of purpose, inviting two other things, that it is the highest and best for all involved, no matter what the outcome is, and that we invite spirit into this conversation. We make sure that we have plugged in with our ground wire and invited that energy in with us. And then we get to take the big step. This is kind of the scary, sticky, sweaty palm, conversation we might have, is that when we're committed to that, in love, in honoring, and we take that step, the opening is provided and we take that step, we walk in knowing that with clarity of purpose, we are going to ask something of someone that they may immediately embrace it and move on. They may say a flat out no. I'm not going there with you. Or even more interesting is we go completely neutral. It's like, wow, where am I in this, right? It's a place of vulnerability, everybody. And vulnerability, we've all heard Brene Brown, and go look at the studies. We love us some Brene in Texas, let me just say. It's a vulnerable moment for us. But when we are living from our spirit, from our truth, these are the moments that are required of us to grow. We take the step that we can. Yes, we take the step that we can. And here's the interesting thing. I know in that particular conversation with my mother, I was really afraid of being rejected. And there's a whole story that goes along with that. But just know that that was a super vulnerable moment and a scary moment for me, but I knew it had to happen. I committed to myself to let it happen. And God love her, to her credit. And she was my champion, people, don't get me wrong here. To her credit, she for a minute as we're putting the bags in the trunk. And then, she switched. The story shut off and she took a completely different direction. And let me just say that gratitude that flowed from me for this woman to be able to take a story and go with me and shift it. Now, she didn't go the same place I did, but that she was willing to participate, that was a gift of gold. Oh my goodness. But here's the thing, even if she hadn't, it still would have been an equally powerful, if not more so, moment. Because here's the thing, by us making the commitment to shifting that, we'll use a word paradigm, to shifting that way of thinking, to shifting that way of being, that it almost doesn't matter what the response is of the other individual. Of course, we would like them to, to affirm with us, right? But that isn't necessarily going to happen. But by simply taking the step that we can, energy has been shifted because of the power of our intention and our clarity. We have already moved molecules. We have connected to spirit. It's already moved. And it's moved because, and probably most importantly, we have changed. We may see a result. If it's not a flat out no, it may linger for a while. and then it may come back to you in the most surprising of ways. So that's our second opportunity, to look at the stories we're telling, and if they're not feeling empowering, are we willing to get clarity around it and open a conversation and take a different perspective? And then the third thing I'm going to offer you today is this is a season full of ritual. Yes? Doesn't matter what, doesn't matter. You know, we of course are celebrating Christmas. We're going through the Advent season. Traditionally, there is a, Thanksgiving and all those pieces, and we've got other faith traditions with other holidays that are woven into this piece. Rituals are interesting. Rituals are very interesting. They can bring us comfort. They can bring us continuity. They can bring us connection. And at certain points in time in our life, they can also not necessarily serve us. This is a great opportunity here in this time while we're kind of ramping up. Now, we're already in the high holidays, and we've celebrated Diwali and things like that. But as we're ramping up, this is a great opportunity to look at the rituals that we participate in, and are they still serving us? It could be something as simple as cranberry sauce. How many people celebrated Thanksgiving with cranberry sauce coming out of a can with marks on it? Yes, okay, yeah, brilliant, right? And then maybe at some point there was a seriously, crazy good, somebody decided to get frisky, and all of a sudden cranberry sauce was like made fresh with all kinds of herbs and spices and orange and, all that stuff. Or they went to Whole Foods and they picked it up, right? But either way, we're introducing a new idea, yeah? Perhaps it's something along those lines. Is there something we would like to bring in? Or could we take over the green bean casserole because Uncle Ed has had it for 10 years and it's awful? Could I just have a green bean casserole that, Perhaps it's moving the time that we actually celebrate the meal. That was a big thing for me when I moved down south. That my family tradition was we eat the meal in the evening. This is Thanksgiving I'm speaking of, typically in the evening. Well, by gar, people in the South, typically, they will have it around midday. Can I tell you the possibilities that opens up for great football and leftovers? Let me just say. And it can be a very fancy meal if you like that sort of thing, or it can be, I had one Thanksgiving, we decided we were going to celebrate in our jammies. All right then, bring on the mashed potatoes. Let's go. It can be things like that, small changes we can make in rituals. It can also be that there's something else calling us, something else calling inside of us. And I want to give you a quick example of something that happened with a very dear friend of mine. She gave me permission to tell the story. Jan grew up in the Jewish tradition. Her husband did not. And they met young, they married young, and they had a lot of messages behind them about this is never going to work, you're going to blow up in 5 years, you're going to this, you're going to that. So these two were navigating some territory. They happened to have a family dinner just a few years in, and Jan tells me that her 4-year-old niece, who is raised in the Jewish tradition, looks at her and says, and looks at her Uncle Michael, who's Jan's husband, and I really want to put an ornament on a tree. She had not grown up with a tree in her home. That just wasn't part of their tradition. Jan, being the creative individual that she is, went, ooh, there's an opportunity here. Hey, maybe there's even a party around it. So she and Michael concocted a wonderful thing that is now lovingly known both as a noun and a verb as latke. Latke. Now we know, potato latke is a part of the Hanukkah celebration, the season, right? But they wanted to create something new. So Jan decided, they initially decided, well, let's, cook some of our traditional holiday, and we'll put up a Christmas tree. Now, their Christmas tends to be a bit more secular, yes, because of the dynamic. That's what they've chosen. But the Christmas tree representing this rebirth and this birth and renewal opportunity. And sure enough, there's her 4-year-old niece, and she's coming over, and they figured out how to, help all the little ones hang something on the tree, and they're making latkes, and there's food, and a tradition was born. And one of the things that she shared with me was there was a wonderful, wonderful bonding moment with her extended family, that her husband's siblings, she had a little trouble with the tree topper, the angel and baby Jesus tree topper and things like that. And they recognized that. And they went out and they created for her, out of aluminum foil, the Star of David as a tree topper for her. Yeah, honoring traditions, creating a ritual tradition of their own, which now, they just celebrated their 30th wedding anniversary in Latka, as we now know it. Everybody's on the phone or emailing, when's Latka, when's Latka, when's Latka? Because it started out with a loving family, and then the family grew, and the family grew, and the family grew, and family became more than just about blood relations or who you married into. So is there and I can't wait, and there's food, and there's a whole ritual around it, and there was a pause for lockdown. But they're back at it again, and it just fills our heart. It fills our heart. Is there something in you that's calling to you to exercise something like that? Whether it's a small adjustment to the rituals you already participate in, or perhaps is there something in your heart that really wants to be birthed? And hey, maybe you can grab a cousin or a good friend and take them along for the ride. So I wanted to offer you those 3 opportunities today of how we can begin to navigate and bring and step into this idea of, as Rev Kurt says, this grateful opportunity, an opportunity to spend gratitude for yourselves, for the ones that are around you, and shift the things that no longer serve. We are growing, we are evolving. And I invite you to use these tools, try them on, and see what it might bring to you. And that table, of course, that's the table that my grandmother purchased. It is now with me. It's gone through many iterations. Interestingly enough, that is a picture window. And it wasn't until I actually went to take this photo to share with you that I realized, holy Toledo Batman, that's a picture window. Those are ladder back chairs. They're just a different style and a different variety. And what love and what togetherness am I called to bring to this? It's already started, and I can't wait for more. So at this point, I'd like to invite us into meditation. And we're going to engage with one of these 3 tools, one of these 3 opportunities as we go into this meditation. And I would invite you, as we step in, to engage with that which resonates most with you. If something sparked for you, even just a little bit, whether it's the ground wire, whether it's the conversation, whether it's the shifting of a ritual and something that's more enriching for you, we're going to take that into meditation. So I invite you, as you are comfortable. Yeah, thank you, Jesse. That would be fine. Yeah, just a little underscore would be lovely. I'm going to invite you, as you are comfortable, to just get comfortable in the seat that you're in, or your couch, or your bed, wherever you are if you're on Zoom, my friends. If you feel comfortable, please feel free to close your eyes, or just adopt a soft gaze off into the distance. And I invite you to let's do a couple of breaths. And we're going to do them in a particular way. We're going to take them in through the nose and out through the mouth as if through a straw. Let's do 3 of them together. In through the nose and out through the mouth. It's okay to make sound. You don't gotta, but it's okay. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And in through the nose and out through the mouth. And rest there for a moment. Breathing at ease in your normal rhythm. Bring to mind one of our tools, one of our intentions from today. What resonated with you the most? whether it's your grounding wire, whether it's a conversation you're calling yourself to have, whether it's a ritual you would like to enhance, or your heart is calling you to something new. Bring that to mind. Feel the feeling that comes with that. Then I'm going to invite you to take that and to go even deeper. Take it to the place where you and the power that breathes you, that small, still voice that can be a whisper or a roar, that is with us always, sharing possibility, sharing wisdom, sharing love. Take your intention into that space. Listen with ears that only you can hear. Feel the love, feel the support, feel the ground. Invite Spirit to share those last words, images, ideas, and we'll take that moment in the silence of our hearts and minds. Embrace this moment. Embrace you. Embrace love, embrace gratitude for all that has been, all that is, and the beauty that is to come. And as you are ready, gently open your eyes if they are closed. Gently take in the sights, the objects around you, the sounds you may be hearing. Return to this space and this place. And we anchor this moment and anchor this time together in gratitude. And so it is, and so we let it be.
Alleluia.
Thank you so much for that timely message and that beautiful music. For those who don't know me, my name is Alyssa Foster, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees for Unity on the North Shore. And I'm just going to take a moment or two to give you a Right and Perfect Home update. We've been trying to do these on a regular basis in the interest of keeping everybody informed. And there's not a great deal to report, but there has been sort of an important development that everyone needs to be aware of. This past week, our buyer asked if they could make another offer to our neighbours at the co-op with respect to resolving the issue of the easement agreement. For those of you who might be tuning in for the first time, we've had a protracted timeline on our sale of this lovely property, mostly because of some a failure to sort of reach one accord with our neighbours who use the easement behind the church. We've thought that we were sort of at the end of that negotiation process, but it seems that there's one more attempt that we can make. And when presented with this option, we agreed that it was worth trying to reach one mind at this point. It sort of serves us as a spiritual community to make that effort, and so we are going to go forward. I will say that there's a timeline on that additional offer or that additional negotiation that's fairly tight, and that if it does not work out, then we're going to move forward with a different plan of how to move forward. We're at peace with this, mostly because it's a fairly limited time frame, and we don't expect it to disrupt things too much. And what I would just ask of those in our community is if you could just affirm that everything is in right order, that regardless of the outcome of what happens this week, that we are moving in the right direction with integrity and purpose, and that our right and perfect home is waiting for us, although the way is not always as clear as we might be comfortable with. So thank you for your time, and I'll turn it back over to Suzanne for the rest of the announcements. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alyssa, for the update. And now is the time for us in our service that we share our love offerings. And giving is very safe and simple. And if you're online, the links and instructions are in the chat. And there are 3 simple ways to give. You can text the word GIVE to 815-827-6052, or you can give online at our website, www.unityns.org, or you can mail a check to 3434 Central Street, Evanston, Illinois 60201. Please also consider making a recurring gift, and you can do that in the Tithely app, or if you want to avoid any transaction fee, you can set up automatic payment with your bank's online bill pay feature, which is what I chose. And it's really very simple. And all you have to do is enter the information of the church, and every month the bank will send a check to the church. And so you don't even have to worry about it. So, and if you're in the sanctuary, you can place the gifts in the bowl at the back. And so now, let's bless our givings and receiving. And together, divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen. And so now let's stand as we embrace our prosperity and sing our offertory song.
All that I need comes to me. grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of loving grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me.
Thank you. Thank you, Felina. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Nancy, for a wonderful message to us in our house. And also thank you for the live stream team. Without them, this will not happen. And everybody that are in-house, that are on Zoom, that will be watching us on social media, your presence have blessed us. And I just have a few announcements. One is that now we have a mobile app, so if you would aim your phone and and snap this, you will scan the QR code, and you will have easy access to our events, news, videos, and more. And also, this is a safe and secure way to give, with credit card or from your bank account. And also, this will take us to a prayer wall to request prayer from others and commit to praying with others. And also, I would like to announce that we have set up November 20th, Sunday, for the Volunteer Appreciation Sunday. Please join us in person in 2 weeks. We'll honor and acknowledge all of you who get it done around here. And without all of your help, the gala would not be a success that we had in October. So we'd like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for making it happen. And it's the Sunday before Thanksgiving, so let's start the week in gratitude by celebrating one another. So that's all that I have. And now Jesse and Felina will lead us with the peace song, and Martin will lead us with the closing prayer for protection.
On earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator. Family, all are we. Each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be our joyous vow to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Now please join me in the prayer of protection. The words are on the screen. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, it is divine. Thank you for joining us. Have a great weekend. Have a great week.
just a